Hi, I'm Buffy and I talk about movies. Today I'll be talking about Sentimental Value, aka Abandoned Child Syndrome the movie, aka Family Trauma the movie, aka Generational Trauma the movie, directed by Joachim Trier and starring Renate Reinsve, Stellan Skarsgård, Inga Ipsdotter Lilleas, and Elle Fanning, written by Eskil Vogt and the director Joachim Trier. Now, as always, I will abstain from talking about the story itself. I watched this film completely unaware of what it was about, and I can't help but feel that my complete lack of knowledge about its story has only enhanced my experience of watching this film, so I hope you're going blind as well. I will be choosing the shots carefully for this video so that I don't spoil anything for you. All you need to know is that Sentimental Value is a family drama that explores generational trauma, abandoned child syndrome, and family-related trauma. Again. Here's the thing though, describing the film's themes that way does not do it justice at all. It makes it sound like an Oscar bait, melodramatic, pretentious, and boring. However, Sentimental Value is none of those things. I actually think that the script for this film is the most flawless out of all the Best Picture nominees this year. It's so well crafted and impactful, and how the movie reveals information about the characters is so intentional and masterfully done. I can't think of any exposition scenes in the film while feeling like I know everything there is to know about the characters on screen. They're so well fleshed out, flawed, and relatable. By the end of the film, you know these characters in and out and understand them deeply. You almost feel like you can tell what their future decisions will look like because the film gives a thorough and comprehensive depiction of them without it being drawn out or boring. The film is so effective with its runtime and pacing too. Describing it may make it seem as though it's a slow film devoid of all levity, but that's not the case at all. There's healthy amount of situational humor and commentary on modern cinema and filmmaking. The film also explores art as a means of communication and catharsis or healing, without these themes being overbearing and without the filmmakers beating you over the head with them. So yes, I thought the script for the film was just absolutely perfect, and I can't help but be in awe of the writers, Eskil Vogt and Joachim Trier. Visually, the film is beautiful and incredibly naturalistic. The opening sequence of the film was so beautiful and ambitious in terms of filmmaking, and it set the perfect tone for the rest of the movie. The camera movement and shot composition were deliberate and purposeful, although one of my friends was bothered by a little too much of handheld kind of shaky cam shots. However, I didn't register them as out of place at all. But yeah, maybe something to point out. The set design was also immaculate and everything looked lived in, and the editing worked really well and enhanced the emotional impact of the film. Now, let's talk about the characters and performances. I'm going to have to tell you the barest of information about them, but I won't be spoiling anything too much. But still, if you don't want to hear literally anything about the film, feel free to skip this very soft spoiler section of the video. Just go to the next chapter. Let's begin with Renate Reinsve playing Nora. I know I'm butchering these names, but I don't know how to say them properly. I apologize. She plays a theater actress who suffers from anxiety and depression. You gradually learn more about her past and how it affects her, why she chose acting as a profession, and by the end of the film, you have a feeling that you've known her entire life. Renate Reinsve's performance is so nuanced and layered. She says so much more with silence than she does with dialogue. Her performance was absolutely stunning, complex, and relatable, detailed and captivating. She was absolutely phenomenal in the film, and I am so glad that she is nominated for this performance at the Oscars. And so is Stellan Skarsgård, very deservedly. Skarsgård plays Gustav, a critically acclaimed but somewhat washed-up director and an absentee father. I love how the film doesn't treat him like a villain, instead portraying him as a flawed person that he is. As the film goes on, the audience learns more and more about this character, and as you do, it becomes increasingly clear where his tendencies and attitudes come from and how much he relies on his art as a means of communication and healing. Stellan Skarsgård gives an absolutely phenomenal performance. He depicts this character so realistically. This is a man who's also forced to come face to face with his old age and mortality. He is such a complex and yet entertaining character, and Skarsgård does such a fantastic job portraying him. Elle Fanning was also great in the film. She plays a world-renowned superstar, the biggest working actress of her generation. I absolutely loved the fact that the character is not a cookie-cutter stereotype of a Hollywood pop popular actress, her character and character arc were unpredictable and surprisingly deep and touching. Elle Fanning was a perfect choice for the role, and I thought she did a fantastic job in the movie. And last but certainly not least, Inga Ipsdotter Lilleas, oh my god, I'm sorry, playing Nora's sister Agnes. She had a very understated role and performance in the film. She is caught between her father and her sister and their tumultuous relationship, and she's the only one who has nothing to do with filmmaking by profession and who seems to be able to navigate her life the most efficiently. Her pain is just as real and valued as the rest of the characters, but it's as if she's been given more tools to cope with it and therefore has more ability for forgiveness and healing. Ignes Ipsdotter Lilleas is so relatable, natural, and understated, yet powerful. She was absolutely phenomenal, and she displayed such compassion and warmth on screen. I believe she is the audience's guide throughout the film, a more neutral and empathetic participant in navigating these hurtful relationships. Agnes is an extremely complex character as well, and the actor delivered a fantastic performance. As you could probably tell, it's really difficult to talk about these characters without spoiling anything, but all you need to know is that all the characters are complex, flawed, and natural, and there are no villains in the film, which I think speaks of the quality of the script. I also loved how the film chooses to illustrate this abandoned child syndrome. The parents who stayed in these children's lives, Nora and Agnes's mother and Gustav's father, are never shown on screen, which I absolutely loved. Abandonment issues have nothing to do with the parent that stays in the children's lives. The existence of these issues does not mean that the remaining parent wasn't good enough or didn't provide all that they could to their children. The abandoned child syndrome exists completely outside of that parent and only because of the absentee parent. And I think removing the remaining parent from the equation completely actually shows how these abandonment issues work and how much impact they can have on children. I think that's why this decision was so correct and powerful. It just felt right. Overall, the more I think about this film, the more I fall in love with it, actually. It's so beautiful, powerful, purposeful, and impactful. I loved pretty much every second of it. However, there was this one scene that seemed a bit too pretentious to me, especially in such a realistic film, but it just might be me. I thought it was a bit out of place. It also was apparently a reference to Ingmar Bergman's movies, but I haven't seen any, so I didn't catch it, and I got shamed and called a pseudo-film buff since I haven't seen any Bergman films by my snobby-ass young friend and former student. And in that moment, I sincerely wished I could still call their mother and get them in trouble. That snobby little brat. Either way, I thought that shot felt out of place a little. Other than that, the film is literally perfect in my opinion. It is really well paced, well directed, and extremely well written. It was not melodramatic at all. On the contrary, sentimental value is extremely realistic, relatable, beautiful, and despite the heavy subjects, concepts, and themes, still very entertaining. I recommend it wholeheartedly, and if you've seen it, please let me know what you thought. And if Sentimental Value wins the Oscar for the Best Picture of the Year, I will not be mad at all. And I sincerely hope that at least one of these actors, who are all, by the way, nominated at the Oscars, will end up a winner. I think that's it for me today. Now, as always, thank you so much for watching this video. Subscribe if you're interested in more movie reviews, and if you feel like it, of course, and I'll see you next time. Bye!